Hola, amigo. You need more? Oh, no. You know what's cool? Big Lee. We love some Big Lee. What if Leenock went against the creator of one of his games, David Kim? Wait a second. We know who David Kim is. We identified it. Puppy Paw claimed it. He might be trolling me, but I'm inclined to believe it. It feels fitting for the way that he plays. This seems like it's Leenock versus Puppy Paw. Let's get into it. And it is going to be on King of the Hill. King of the Hill with the English. Lee? Nani? What? I don't remember the last time I saw this Civ picked it. I don't remember the last time I saw this Civ work on this map, actually. So I'm kind of intrigued to see what Leenock has got in mind here because, well, you see, the English, they kind of have this weird limiting factor. Everything they want to do needs wood. They are more thirsty for wood. No, I'm not going to make that joke. They are really hungry for wood. Let's just put it like that. They are more hungry for wood than a woodpecker. There we go. That's the safe for children version. Compared to David's choice, a Civ that does need wood, but actually has the extensive approach to their eco-booming that means that they shouldn't be as exposed as the English. Feels like Leenock has really put himself in the clock because these generations just don't favor English play right now. When the new map arrives, when the pop version comes and we get trees on the outskirts, things might change. But as it stands right now, this usually looks like a very grim map for the English. In fact, every time I've seen it tried in competitive play, it ends terribly. It wouldn't be so bad, you know, if this was modern day English. You could just get on benefits and life would be easy, even when you're starved around you. But no, this is vicious, feudal English, where you have to make do with what you have yourself. And what you have is a very tiny wood. Probably should rephrase that. But it's a very small one. There's barely any wood available to him very near to his base. And he's also very exposed on all flanks. This could be exploited by David Kim, a.k.a. Puppy Paw. And Puppy Paw, well, his opening feels a little bit better. The wood lines, yes, they are just as small. But the difference maker is Stone is nearby, and he can extend down here. And if he extends down here, oh my God, look at the value there. Drop a town center here, get your wood, get your double deer stack. Life will be good. Leenock, the one thing that's good for him is he is savior of the sheeps. He will protect them against the fierce aggression of Puppy. Actually, Puppy Paw doesn't care. He's got 2 pet sheeps. This is Lammy and Limmy. Oh, wait, no. This one on the ground is Limmy because that's all that's left of him. This one's Jason. They're his pet sheep. They will never be killed because Puppy Paw has the berries. He doesn't need to go for the sheep. And that's what we're going to look at. Where are these berries? These berries are beautifully located for an Abbasid player. One of them behind his base, safely retracted away from any aggression. The other one to the north. Now, this one is a little bit more awkward. I don't feel like you want to be playing towards the north here if you're Puppy Paw. There's a lot more equity towards the south. The double deer kind of makes up for the loss of the berries in conjunction with this fat wood line. And wood will be the critical detail that matters here for both civs. For Leenock, it's all about wood for those more aggressive feudal age timings or to open doors to other possibilities. For the Abbasids, you absolutely need huge flurries of wood into your economy, not only for your TC booming, but for your power spike in the Castle Age, which is fueled forward by units like spears, but more importantly, where the wood is needed isn't mainly for the spears, it's for the siege that will decide the battles in your favor. That's where this matchup has really changed, by the way. Like, it used to be the English was really, really good against the Abbasids. Their win rate was phenomenally high. Back before we saw the berry change, the tech up time change, it was very hard to play Abbasids due to the timing the English had. It directly countered your own because of how long your tech ups took in conjunction with less beneficial economical sides to the Civ. Ever since those tweaks got made, the win rate has skewed in a surprising way. Like, a lot of people wouldn't have anticipated it, but if you were to whip out the Abbasids up against the English right now, you have a 63.9% win rate. That's on a Civ that is being spammed up the wazoo by everyone left, right, and center. Like, this is an overplayed Civ right now, which means that actually its win rate should be deflated because the pick rate is inflated, right? So if you have a lot of players who are playing it suboptimally versus maybe the players at the highest ranks that are kind of diversifying, you'd expect a slight negative to that win rate percentage. But still, 63.9% compared to what it used to be, where I'd say it was the other way around. And the reason is because you're able to access that Castle so much quicker, rather, you access your win condition. And it's a big difference, right? You're saving 15 seconds on both age ups. That's 30 seconds stripped away to reach your win conditions, the Abbasids. In conjunction with a better gathering rate, means you unlock quicker. And the English window, to be honest, after the Ram Rush nerfs, of everything else that got tweaked, the English window of opportunity had already shrunk by a considerable margin. Now it feels like you've got a 2 to 3 minute window in which you can exploit Feudal Age up against the Abbasids before they rush into Castle. And make no mistake, folks, once the Abbasids crack Castle, the hunt here, right? The hunt and the prey, they switch places. This becomes your hunter, and this becomes your helpless prey. So I have to see what Lenok wants to do. We'll open up Standardized with the Council Hall into the massament of farms. He did delay his feudal, and this is fine. When you're in this matchup, you want to have the economical benefits for the next 5 minutes versus the quicker feudal age timing by a minute or two, because the Abbasids will play condensed, and you can see that effect already. In fact, we said Puppy Paw can maybe play to the south, but it felt too open ground here. Instead, he plays a little bit closer to the north, gets access to additional stone lines, and he has a secondary wood line. The question is, how is Lenok going to address, how is he going to approach this base? Because there's no easy in now, right? This town center actually alleviates a lot of breach points. It's very hard now for Lenok to sneak around the back here. He can come to the south. I think this is maybe his play to just deny this equity down here. And it will also deny the berries. But you will not starve your opponent entirely because he will still have that secondary wood line. The issue, however, he might have is if he doesn't actually put down a defensive outpost of some kind, he might run into an issue if Lenok then wraps around with outposts to the back berry bush here. But you know what? It might not even come to that. You can see something that the Abbasids can do really well, and Puppy Paw is fully aware of. He goes into the stable because with the berry gathering rates, you're able to afford additional units at this stage compared to other civs. Especially against the English, you just don't have the same sort of food benefits available to them. They might be able to get infinite food pretty cheap with their farms being 50% cheaper, but the gathering rate is only boosted by 20% at this stage. Meanwhile, Puppy Paw not only has that 30% boosted gathering rate on berries, it just got even better because you just saw that correctly. The Golden Age 1 achieved. He now has the increased gathering rate of 10% for all resources. So this is where these numbers become quite skewed quite fast. David has 13 people compared to the 10 of Lenok on food, and you're about to see that accelerate in the coming minute. In fact, what is the surplus right now? So Lenok, yeah, he is starting to hold back. I think he's considering maybe saving a little bit for a castle. The logic here is you get a big enough force to poke your opponent and prod him and maybe cut into this villager line, but you pad yourself for a castle age timing. This is a little bit of a bait in this matchup, though. It's very rare that I've seen this pay off for an English player, simply because without definitive damage done to your opponent's base, the Abbasids still reach a decent time in the castle, and like we already highlighted, with the creeping siege, able to build their siege in the field, it puts you at a distinct disadvantage to the English, not only because you can't match that build speed of the siege, but also because most of the English compositions rely upon incredibly slow units. That's right, I'm speaking about the Longbows and the man-at-arms. Both units move at 1.12 movement speed, which means that Mangonels can easily pick them apart. I feel like my hopes for the English, I'm not sure it'd be too strong though, but I feel like one thing I would be kind of okay with experimentation with is some sort of benefit around wood. It feels weird to me that the English focus is on farms, and it feels like the way that the English farms is designed is it doesn't start to get its real value into castle, but you don't have anything else to like complement that. And then real value comes in Imperial when you talk about enclosures. But then we've also seen the English don't handle themselves too well in hyper late game situations into Imperial. And I think that's once again accelerated by the lack of beneficial inflation on other resources. Food is the only thing they really get more of, right? With the mill influence. But even this mill influence like hasn't been looking good because something people have identified is farms are kind of a bait. What? Can't believe I'm saying it. I know, right? Remember the game first came out, people came across from Age of Empires 2, and they thought farms giving infinite resources was broken because in AoE 2, for those that don't know, you have to pay to renew your farms after they deplete. That's not the case here. This says 120 food. But once it's depleted, it instantly just gets redone with no price paid. So in theory, farms are OP, right? Infinite resources must be. No. Because of the timing, because of the investment, it's so pricey, 75 wood each, or in the case of the English, 37 wood, as well as the real estate required, and having such little health makes them good targets for your opponent. Instead, what people have identified is with the already better gathering rates on things like deer, boar, even berries is competitive, it's better to sustain yourself with these pocket ecos so that you can get more aggression out on the map sooner. Whereas when you go for these farmlands, not only do you find yourself with less military influence, less present army in this early mid-game, you also find yourself extending further away from the safety of your town center, which means you have double the issues, right? You're drained of resources you need for defenses, whether they be static or live units, and then also you're stretching your base too thin. So not only have you got this issue where you need to build defenses, but as you extend your base more and more, you need even more defenses. You see how this begins to snowball, right? It's like when someone takes a loan and they're like, it's only 20% per year. And that very quickly adds up when you just can't make the bills be paid, right? Like, oh, I've gone up another 20%, and now that's going to compound and add another 20% on the total earned there. Like, it feels like there's just this kind of multiplicative nature of issues that exist in going hard into farms. And here we go. So Poppy Paw gaining a lot of ground here. We'll have the berries. This is critical. Needs to extend to the south, but when they're ready, they'll be booming. And you can see they're already booming. Like, look at the difference here. This is ridiculous. Remember what I was saying about the income per minutes? Really starting to be realized. And the difference in terms of villages working is only 3. But look at the numbers. The income per minute is ludicrous here. So yeah, seeing as a lot of people talking about, just to round out my thoughts, the TLDR and what I was saying with English is maybe some experimentation on the test servers with some sort of wood gain mechanic would be cool. Whether it's a landmark that allows you to gain more wood in some way. I know it kind of steps on the toes of the Rus, but like there's an argument that the Chinese kind of already do that to an extent. Like the Rus get 20% more wood, but if a Chinese player oversees wood production, they get 20% anyway. So it's not like we can argue there's an issue with having people have similar like perks, right? But let's focus on the game, because we should have quite a fun coming minute or two here. Tech up is complete. Lenok is on the move. Lenok, did he get into the blacksmithy already? He did, but no siege engineering. And these walls are going to delay him as well. And he has a wrap ride to the south side, which could delay him. Nice move of the horseman. Denial of vision. Really important here. It means that Lenok is now playing blind. You can see the vision effect, right? It's very limited. He will at least snipe out the vision of Poppy Paw as well. But Poppy Paw, quick with the outpost drop. Double outpost drop, in fact. This is going to solidify him on the south side. It's the only way that Lenok can breach. Going through the palisades takes too long. He's already missed his timing. His window of opportunity is closing fast because he has been out-teched. And it means the win condition for Poppy Paw can now be realized. This win condition right here. And it's also being joined by Lancers, which I don't think have been answered. No Lancer answer here, no. No racks. Lenok, a nice idea going into the double stable, but it feels way too late. And no third TC yet. I like this out of Poppy Paw. I think 2 TC Castle Age is much stronger here in the English matchup. Going for 3 TCs would have opened the window again. Lenok would have had an opportunity to strike in and actually punish you. This way around, he's going to suffer. He's going to suffer deeply. And if he's not careful, it might be just death by one big cut, as opposed to the 1,000 that we're used to seeing so frequently in this type of matchup. King's Palace will at least stabilize him for the moment. Walls go up from Lenok. Understands what this game's about to turn into. Tries to create a stalemate and create the no man's land in the center. However, David is willing to ride through that very quickly. He has a sizable cavalry force. And a bunch of them are heavily armored. And we don't often see Lancers utilized by the Abbasids. They don't get any unique tech that benefits them more. But there is an interesting dynamic at play here. When the Lancers get seen by Lenok, Lenok has 2 choices. He can either play into Spears to directly counter them, or he'll play into Knights himself to give him a dynamic element to his army that can chase through. It's also beneficial to have those Knights in conjunction with the Horsemen. However, going for the Knights in this matchup, in this situation, because your opponent went Lancers, is a bait. The moment that Lenok would choose to go into Knights, Poppy Paw instantly pushes Camel Archers and counters everything about what Lenok has attempted there. Because the beautiful thing about Camel Archers against Heavy Cavalry is they get a full 20% damage reduction. If it's only Horsemen, they're only reducing 10% damage because bonus damage doesn't get reduced by auras. Or increased either. David on the prowl, just kind of flaunting his army right now. I keep calling him David because it's his name in game, but this is Poppy Paw. And here we go, now into that big juicy woodline we talked about. The good news for Lenok is he did extend his base in a way that he has woodline reserves. He also has the back one, right? So he's not going to be hard pressed on resources too soon. My concern is this, the sacred site factor. If Puppy Paw wants to win this pretty easy peasy, all he needs to do is drop the keep, and there it is. Yeah, he understands. He's like, okay, I don't need to come in. This is King of the Hill. This is my hill, and I'm about to put the crown on. Come and dethrone me. Lenok, it's still just more horsemen right now. Has got to upgrade them. We'll probably address that soon. That's already underway. Veterancy is achieved, but I feel like his hand is discounted here. You've got Lombos, which are counted out by the Mangonels. Crossbows address any potential for you to have like knights or lancers. Kind of interesting choice, actually, by David to go for the crossbows. He could have just built into spears, or rather, man-at-arms would have probably worked pretty well here as your siege build force, and then you would have been fine. But crossbows is a more kind of paranoid, I don't know what he's doing type choice. You have to remember that while we have God Vision, we can say, no, Puppy Paw, you should be getting this unit instead. He's playing blind. So instead, he goes for a balanced composition of crossbows to deal with any heavy armored units like man-at-arms or knights. And then he has his own rapido force of knights and horsemen, which should counter out almost anything else that Lenok can build. And he'll continue to prowl. Wouldn't be surprised if he tries to burn through the palisades now. There should be a temple being dropped soon. He actually needs to capture this sacred site to force the condition. But for the moment, he's delaying it. I think his plan here is to get 2 to 3 keeps up in a cruel format around the sacred site. Oh, no, there he is. I just didn't see it. Yeah. So, there it is. I'm just blind. I looked everywhere but this one spot. So he's already captured the sacred site, but he will be able to solidify control with additional keeps very quickly here. That's a lot of people. 15 villagers gathering on the stone. And breach underway. And Lenok displaced. He can't do anything about this. He's out of position. He's shifting across now, but these longbows are not going to be good enough. Oh, my. Oh, my. Lenok doesn't have a clear answer to this. But Puppy Paw is paranoid. The moment he gets approached by longbows, he doesn't know what else is coming. He will back out. This means that Lenok has to come out and play. Anyone seen Warriors? Right now, Puppy Paw is just going, Lenok, come out to play. Yeah, that's right. That's how bad that guy sounded when he said it. I really had to do some weird things with my voice for that. God, that's a boomer movie right there. That's an old one. I only knew about it because of the game they made. But we don't focus on that game. We focus on this one. Mangonels. They're going to strong-arm Lenok into a bad fight. You can feel it. He needs the anti-siege. He's only now getting the siege workshop. This is going to be delayed. He's going to open more passes just in case he didn't have enough access. It looks like Puppy Paw is going for the fort keep. Needs the last of the stone, though. Puppy Paw? Puppy Paw? No. No hablo la stone. Hola, amigo. You need more? Oh, no. I think he just realized he doesn't have enough for a keep. He's going to be forced to fight here. Wrap around, stab in, horseman trying to get the Mangonels. 3 Mangonels here exposed, and the crossbow's in trouble as well. The horsemen, they get the breach side. Puppy Paw shows his soft underbelly, and Lenok will just munch right into it. Everything gets blitzed. Everything must go. It is a fire sale in Puppy Paw's military line. But it looks like it's strong enough. Lancers, they break through. They force the fallback. Barely any horsemen left. Maybe Puppy Paw can turn this around. Despite the sacrifices, the lost forces, the Lancers might have been his saving grace. Enough longbows are dead that Lenok cannot ride out after taking this fight. Even then, it doesn't look like he might even be able to take this fight. Still enough Lancers left alive. He'll finally retreat away. He gets the crossbowman out to safety. And Puppy Paw, with a smile on his face, he says, I might not have got a decisive victory here, but Lenok-san, you have been delayed. And there is still a win condition building for me, as well as a proxy base in the center. One that will be joined now by Camel Archers. And this time, the keep will go up. Puppy Paw, he decided to actually use a calculator instead of just mashing his face against the calculator and seeing what the numbers said. And even after that whoopsie days, you can see how dominant he is. Military force matched, eco outdoing. Lenok running out of time here. Camel Archers, they do need to be upgraded. That is going to be addressed. Only 3 of them. I like this. Because the Knight's transition. This is the thing he was waiting for. Remember what we said. He's baiting Leenock into going to the Knights as well when he sees Lancers. And now because he's done this, it means that the whole English composition just got discounted. He counterfeited his hand with one unit. This is what we were waiting for. The Camel Archers will reign supreme, and they will not be easy to breach. Once the upgrade comes out, look at their health. Up to 210. Good luck killing that. Now Treb's on the front, but Leenock has so much to break. The only thing trying to breach this base might do with one baby trebuchet, it might break his spirit before he breaks the base. Especially when the base is this big. Good lord. And you can see he's even prepping spears. Spears that you normally would not do against the English due to Lombos. But Puppy Paw's like, throwaway forces. What can his Longbows do if I have Mangonels? And that's true, that's the issue. Although building spears against the English should be forbidden in your brain, realize that it's the big brain move when you can just have Mangonels to spam at that Longbow line. Mangonels that have superior range to the English Longbows. And a new outpost going up from Leenock. A few units will move out to punish that. Oh, he doesn't finish it off. He will get the villagers away, though. And the rush out, trying to bait him into a fight here. Treb slowly getting through the military district, but still so much work ahead of them. And you can see, Puppy Paw is almost pop capped, so he's getting ready to ride. Getting ready to rumble. Charges in. Knights to hold back the Horsemen. And Crossbow will take advantage of that, poking and prodding. No bonus damage coming out. Leenock, you need to wrap around this fight. He didn't need to protect the Lombos. The Lombos were already behind the wall. And it means the Horsemen are going to be thrown away. And it means his whole army is going to be thrown away. The only thing that will remain is the Lombos that are protected behind the wall. But everything beyond the wall must die. That's right, folks. Puppy Paw is the watch. We're Game of Thrones and now. Time to kill some wildlings. Back behind the wall they go. Back behind the safety. But Leenock, he can't afford to just sit back for long. That sacred site victory condition continues to tick down. Mangonel is ready to play with Leenock in the field. Treb's killing one, maybe two buildings, but that's just not going to be good enough. He needs a quick in, and he needs it soon. Horsemen are his one saving grace potentially, but the spears address that perfectly. And the Mangonels address the Lombos. Heavy damage done. Spears wrap around. Horsemen going to be denied from their equity, not able to easily take out the Mangonel. They just about connect with it, but I don't think this is going to be quick enough. Mangonel stay up. No approach for Leenock, and this just looks futile. He still cannot break out of his own base. Another ride. I mean, 5 horsemen at a time. It's just not going to do it. It's too little, too late. Leenock never able to rebuild the army quick enough. Puppy Paw essentially doubling up his production. And we're not even on Golden Age 3 yet. It's only 31 structures. If we were there, this wouldn't even be close. And you start to realize the potential the Abbasids have in this type of situation and how weak the English can be on King of the Hill as their peon in the gully. Peon in the trench, I guess, is more fair down here. I don't see a way anymore. I mean, Leenock, it's all drying up too fast. He'll try for a desperate villager pull. He's running out of word. This is leaving him depleted, drained, dry. And that break time can't be afforded. You can see exactly what Puppy Paw does. Multi-Mangonels coming out. He'll no longer be able to reach the siege line. And it means he will no longer be able to play the game. Someone said nobody puts Bigley in the corner. But apparently nobody met Puppy Paw. Oh, and English, they're not looking too good here, folks. The only good news I can give to English lovers is that my home civ, at least they're going to get patched eventually. At least they've got to get buffed, right? Because they are looking absolutely trashed here, especially on these type of maps. It was bold of Leenock to choose the English on King of the Hill. I think the reasoning behind this was practice probably for the upcoming Golden League. Like, remember that heading into round 2, it's going to be the off-meta civs, and King of the Hill is one of the maps. So the banned civs, by the way, for that one, the first week is going to be Delhi, Mongols, French. So it makes sense that you want to try civs that aren't meta picks there. in prep for this tournament. But I just don't see it with the English. On the current build, it doesn't make sense. One interesting thing that could open up is if Leenock finds a way to stabilize the build right now, with the patch coming very soon, I believe that patch that's due this week is going to add in the new generation seed for King of the Hill, at which point the English could have some flexi on that map. It's still going to be a dicey Civ, but you at least don't have this wood drain. You at least have the potential to instantly tap a giant wood line and also have kind of softer fallback points, because with this upcoming patch, with the change to the generation, it means civs like the French are going to struggle a little bit more to raid around the sides. To that end, though, in this specific matchup, I think it's actually going to be an even bigger disadvantage. When that new patch drops, the Abbasids will actually leverage those wood lines better than almost any other civ in the game. So overall, like, this matchup wasn't ever favored for Leenock, whether we were talking in the current patch or the upcoming one. And either way, the English continue to look weak. With very limited options, I think this is the issue they run into. When you consider other civs in the game, such as the Roos is a perfect example, they have so much flexibility. Even the Abbasids have realized multiple builds. The English still don't. The English don't have enough economical benefits in flexible ways that they can utilize to go to different builds. I think the biggest limitation for them, especially right now, outside of what we talked about with the fact they're wood locked and they don't get additional wood production, is the landmarks limit choices. There's not any great choices right now. The Council Hall is the given. The Abbey of Kings doesn't make much sense. Some people have argued the Abbey of Kings is kind of cool and it functions a bit like chivalry for French knights, but for all units. The issue with that, however, is unless you're putting an Abbey of Kings next to your opponent's base, how the hell is it going to help you, right? Are you telling me that you're going to build man-at-arms and then run them to your opponent's base and then run them all the way back to your own base? I mean, I guess we can call that the coffee break build, because if you make that move to go to your opponent's base and then back, there'll definitely be enough time for you to go make yourself a drink and come back to the PC before they even return. So overall, like, someone has to give, someone has to change. I think this Civ has an underwhelming level of choice to make in the first 15 to 20 minutes. And even with these kind of curveballs we've seen players like Mr. Throw, it very quickly becomes predictable. Because the issue is that a lot of people initially saw the Horseman build that Mr. innovated in the M4C qualifiers with the English, and they thought that that was going to be the game changer. What people quickly realized is while the Horseman build has some potency to it, it also becomes very predictable, and it relies heavily upon your opponent not scouting. And I think that's the biggest issue the English face. If they're not the tempo aggressor, anything they do feels kind of counterintuitive. Because if they're up against a good opponent, good opponents will scout. They know exactly what you're doing, and most civs have better leveraged advantages economically or militarily to then punish you when you go for a more greedy type build as the English.